Hi, my name is Greg Canty, and I'd like to welcome you to the Win Happy podcast. I love chatting to people from all walks of life about their lives and their careers, about the choices they make along the way to pursue their happiness, and what winning actually means to them. I hope you enjoy these conversations as much as I do. Thanks for listening. On today's podcast, I spoke with Leila Gherabli, the director of a film documentary, Hope is the Thing with Feathers. This beautiful film, featuring the staff and members of the RehabCare Bantry, captures the personal stories, memories, aspirations and goals of the people attending the service, filmed within the glorious surrounds of the centre. It turns out Leila, who's a programme facilitator at RehabCare Bantry, has had her own big story with many twists and turns. Her role and the film project have come at a perfect time, where her huge heart and her creativity were able to flourish, illuminating the potential and the spirit of the people who use the services of RehabCare. Let's hear from Leila. Leila Gherabli. Okay, you pronounce it for me.
Gherabli.
I'm going to go again. Leila Gherabli.
More or less. That's as good as it will get for now.
Go on.
Yeah, Gherabli.
Gherabli.
Perfect. Third time round.
Yeah, well, as we said, you're making life difficult for me on this
it's my mission.
beautiful Wednesday afternoon. And it's kind of perfect because we said we'd record in the outdoors. So we're sitting outside a gorgeous old pub that's closed about a year, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, called the Longboat. In a town called Durris, for anyone who may not know about West Cork. It's a beautiful little place. And nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah,
yes.
We haven't met before, so this is cool.
Yeah.
So what I really like about this is that I just spotted an article about a very interesting film project you were involved in. I think I read a review in one of the newspapers. And quite rightly, you got a lot of credit for the work that you did. And I did my little Mr. Google. I think I found you on Instagram, followed you, sent you a message.
Good detective work there.
Yeah.
Well
how
done.
about coming on the podcast? And you just went, why not?
Well, I didn't, in fairness.
Okay, go on. You explain it, so. You explain it.
I thought, I suppose because I would like to do a lot more of this kind of work. I've done a little bit in the past, but there's a long stretch where I haven't done any of it. So I would have mostly done teaching and community work, which I absolutely love, but the more creative side of it, which I suppose now I'm being able to marry with the community work, which is fantastic. The more creative side, I've only done little bits here and there, and I was worried that I wouldn't have enough to talk about, essentially, you know? But then you convinced me. You convinced me because you said, it'll be grand. And I was like, well, there you go. How can I argue with such a thing?
So if the conversation is finished in 5 minutes, maybe you would have been right and you had nothing to talk about. But I suspect that's not the case.
We'll see. That's your job.
Yeah. That's my job.
That's
absolutely.
Your job.
What I love about what you've just said to me, like you have kind of experimented and your own little story has taken a few twists and turns. You've tried different things.
The long scenic route, for sure. We're still on it, but yeah.
But isn't that what life is all about, in a way?
It is. I think, obviously, when you're younger, when you're in your early 20s and you see people becoming successful pretty quickly and they're ticking all the boxes and you're like, I know that there's something I want to do, but I don't know exactly what it is. And then I try this and then I fail at this and then I have a big setback. And then I love writing, for example, but the inspiration comes once every few years and it can feel a little bit demoralizing. But the more now that I'm learning, 34 now, and I am beginning to hope that and feel that maybe more of this is ahead of me and that I had to learn a lot of life lessons before things kind of take off, and whatever take off means. Do you know what I mean? Just doing stuff that's fulfilling. And I know a lot of people like that too. A lot of my friends would kind of be similar. So in a way, maybe it's a blessing because oh my God, if I started doing things when I was younger, I wouldn't have had any wisdom. I barely have any wisdom now, but I wouldn't have had any wisdom then. Do you know what I mean?
Who needs wisdom?
Who needs wisdom? But I like the idea that you can become more and more successful. And I mean successful in it, whatever that means to anybody. Fulfilled, I suppose, is the word. The further on in life. And I really like the idea that like life doesn't end at 30. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel younger than ever, and I feel like I'm just getting closer to like what my passions are. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're talking a couple of days after your film documentary project.
Yes.
Was shown in the Bantry's Cineplex.
Cinemax Bantry.
Cinemax Bantry. And I was there last summer, pretty much this time last summer, because my son's movie was shown there.
You said, and you know, that film looks, I love films so much, and I don't know how I hadn't seen that film, but when you said it to me, I looked at the trailer and I was like, this has to be on my watch list, like it just looks awesome, so yeah. Yeah,
well, I think it sits in the territory of what you were doing. So your film was called
Hope is the Thing with Feathers.
And it was a documentary stroke film that was done with a kind of West Cork disability community.
Yes, so in 2024 I started working at RehabCare, the Bantry day service. RehabCare is a national organisation, but it's a disability organisation. The day service where I work, there's physical disabilities, so you might have people who have suffered a stroke, a life-altering injury, you know, maybe they have a degenerative disease, anything like that. And then there's also the mental health side, so we would have people with mental health issues, autism, intellectual disabilities, and it's really cool because like the centre is divided in two, but we all everybody mixes together, and that's just awesome. Do you know what I mean? So I was working there as a program facilitator, which just basically means that you do activities with the clients that would be beneficial to them. It's very person-centred, you know. And will I tell you how it came about? Yeah,
well, you weren't working there as a filmmaker.
Oh, no. I would hope for a lot more pay if I was working there as a filmmaker. No, I wasn't. So, just a program facilitator, which is like kind of, I guess, more akin to like teaching. Do you know what I mean? It's like social care work. But I went to film school in Madrid in like 2014. So I have a bit of film experience, you know. There's one project I made back then that I'm very proud of. And since then, I've only done very small little things, but I've always really enjoyed it. And then the manager at the time, Catherine Doyle, she's no longer the manager there now. But in my interview, I said anything to get the job. I was like, and I do filming and I do this and that. And then afterwards I was like, can I swear on this podcast?
Of course you can.
I was like, why the fuck did I say that? Like now they're going to get me to do filming. And of course she did. So we made a short film about the woodlands because it's a beautiful area there. We're very lucky. So it's the day service, but then we have this woodlands area. And a lot of the clients, like especially the older men, love working out there because they are of service. They love nature, you know, like they're doing something. We're not patronizing them here. They're actually doing something that they love doing, do you know? And I made a short film with them about how important the woodlands was to them and then just nature in general. And my manager, Catherine, liked it. So I was rewarded with more work. She was like, now you're going to make another film.
Do more of those.
Do more of those. Exactly. So the idea was to make a film about the history of rehab care. But as I started filming, I realized that like they weren't becoming engaged, you know, like you, I suppose, as a podcast host, like you understand when they're engaged and animated. And I just realized quickly that it would be much better to talk about them and whatever they wanted to talk about. And instantly, like their personalities that we get to see as workers there shone through. They were naturals on camera. Do you know what I mean? They were pros. All of their different personalities. Some of them, you know, spoke about their struggles. They also spoke about like their beliefs, what they're passionate about, you know, their talents, their humor and wit. That's a massive one. Really shone through as well. And like when I saw how that came through on camera, I was like, we have to make this something bigger because it deserves something bigger. And I suppose like before I started working at RehabCare, I'd mostly worked with children and teenagers and the like, so I definitely had preconceptions about people with disabilities. Not so much mental health, because I know about that myself. I have my own mental health story, but like, disabilities, different disabilities. And I don't even know what those preconceptions were, but when you go into that centre you feel like, or I feel at least, and I know that the other staff on the floor who I'd be friends with, like, you can be so expressive, you can be goofy, like you can be an oddball, and you just have the crack. It is really hard work too, like I'm not romanticizing it, but like the lads, they're so non-judgmental, they're so funny, they have such a different take on life, and like I'd come home every day with stories, you know, hilarious things they would have said, or maybe we'd be doing like, we did a lot of like poetry workshops, and different ones would get so philosophical and make points that I would never think of, or anyway, so I just really wanted to show the world, I say, like the world, I wanted to show more people that.
Well, why not?
Absolutely.
Why not the world, yeah.
Why not the world? Because, and the kind of the whole point of it, I think, is that like, it's not that we're just giving them something like, oh, it's a charitable thing. Here, guys, you get to be on camera. No, they actually have so much to give us. I know that sounds kind of cheesy and almost disingenuous, but it's true. Like the value that these people hold, like somebody who's been through a life-shattering injury and still continues to have a laugh, cares about other people and gets up every day. That was the theme in the film. Proud of just getting up every day. Do you know what I mean? Like all of us face dark nights of the soul. All of us face our life shattering at one point or another. These people are at the forefront. So like, why aren't we actually looking up to them for guidance rather than sort of like, oh, let's see. It's great to help them, but like they can help us. And that's what I really wanted to show, like the value in these places where we don't look or would forget to look. That was kind of the idea of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a particular skill set that was able to extract these lovely, lovely stories from these characters in a very relaxed way. They're obviously not trained actors,
No.
but you were able to do that. So what I'd like to do is maybe figure out some of your story and where you acquired that skill set along the way to be able to do this fantastic work with a special group of people.
Could I also just say really quickly, like I definitely have that skill, but I would say like any of the workers on the floor at that day service and just other people that I know that work, you know, with disability or I think they would have a very similar skill set that we overlook, and it's just being able to do that, like make people feel at ease, make people feel like they can be expressive and be themselves. So it's not just me. I suppose it's just that I had the filming experience, but I suppose I do pride myself on that, and I would like to use it more going forward. So I just want to make that point.
Okay, so who the hell are you and where did you come from?
That's such a hard question. I suppose I've always had a creative side, but it's I found that I very often struggle with it being blocked a lot.
So where are you from?
Oh, okay. So I'm from, I was actually born in London, but my mother's family, like we would have our roots in West Cork in Adrigole. So we moved from London back to, I suppose, my grandparents' home when I was around 8, went to school there, went to college in London, studied arts, like I studied Spanish and literature, moved to Spain then, did some teaching work, some translation work. I started working with kids in a play-based company. It's called La Casita de Inglés, and I really loved like that kind of like expressive energy that you can have with kids, and you can just be so, again, you can be so goofy, you can be an idiot, you know, and I loved getting everybody's energy up, and and then I got a job working in head office there, so hiring and training teachers. I went to film school around the same time, but I ended up specialising in production, which I think was a bit of a mistake because I wanted to do something that would give me a job. But actually now I wish that I could have gone back and done directing.
Yeah, but
it would all worked out.
Yeah, but for anyone who's listening, we often, it's a practicality of life. You need to put bread and water on the table.
I know, but I already had a job. I don't know what I was thinking. I went to film school for a creative outlet, but yeah, I did. I was thinking very practically at the time, but still learned loads. Yeah,
but that's okay as well, because I'm sure what you picked up in film school ended up being part of this gig that you were doing here.
It's funny, it all comes together.
You bring to that role.
There was that, and then I ended up doing a little bit of filming for Casita de Inglés, just making short videos of the kids that were consented, obviously, or like fun videos for them, things like that, which I really loved. I made one music video in 2016 that I am very proud of, or 2017, I'm not sure. And then I came back to Ireland and started working at RehabCare in Bantry. And then I suppose last year, I don't know how or why, but thank God, because I used to love writing when I was a kid. It was my favourite thing to do. and then it just was blocked, and I couldn't really do it throughout all of my teens and 20s, and it started to come back. So I've written a bit of poetry recently as well, which I love doing that. So yeah, that's it.
And what do you write about?
The poetry?
Yeah.
Suppose I just get inspired by maybe different moments or memories, or this might sound a little bit this might sound a little bit pretentious, but the only way I can describe it is it's the same kind of art that I love. It's like finding the divine or the magical, but in the real world. So some things I would write about things that we were dealing with on a daily basis, like mental health or something, but then bring in some sort of mythology or something a little bit supernatural, just some element there. Nature, transformation, all those types of things. I really wouldn't know how to describe my poetry because I'm only figuring it out myself, do you know? I'm really only
like
figuring
everything
it out.
else.
Like everything else. And some of it is absolutely shit, but a few of them are good. So I hope to work more on that. One was published in a London-based magazine, so that gave me encouragement to keep going. But I find with poetry, you can't really just sit down and write. Do you know what I mean? It comes to you, and you have to read loads, and so there's a bit of the work that you put in, and then it is the inspiration. So I'm only at the very beginning, but I would love to do more. So
okay,
yeah.
All of that creativity, what did your mum and dad do? Did some of that come from them?
My mom for sure. I wouldn't know about my dad because he left pretty quick. Do you know what I mean? So it was me and my mom the whole time. And yes, if you spoke to my mom, she'd say, I'm not creative. But I remember the stories that she used to tell me. I love psychological horror and ghost stories and folklore. I love that kind of stuff. And I still to this day remember stories that she told me, if we were on a bus somewhere, or if I was going to sleep, and I'd be like, tell me a story. And I remember these ghost stories that she'd tell me, and she came up with them. I used to think that she wrote them down. She was like, no, I just came up with that. I wouldn't be able to do it now, but I came up with it, and I still remember. Also, I think she had really good taste in, who knows what good taste is, but I think she had good taste in music and films and TV shows, and so did my aunts as well, my two aunts, Anne and Mary, and books, and I was just exposed to all of that because of them. Do you know what I mean?
So was there a lot of music in the house and what have you when you were growing up?
Yeah. Moby is one that I remember specifically. Moby.
Excellent.
Oh yeah, great taste. Moby, Massive Attack, the Fugees.
Oh, amazing.
Still some of my favorites. And then my Aunt Mary, she's actually a GP, but she, in her free time, she just does it. She goes to the theatre, she learns salsa, she travels, and she's always sending me really cool films or things to read and things like that. So, that definitely helped, yeah.
The first gig I took my kids to was Moby.
Stop it! Oh my God.
In the Marquee in Cork. And it was just when that album Play had come out. Yeah. And he was at the peak of his new powers.
Play. That's the one my mom would put on. Oh, yeah.
What
and did they love it?
Incredible album. They really did. And funnily enough, Ellen, my daughter, she's that bit younger. She got it straight away.
Yeah.
Brendan, my son, who's that bit older, who has done so much work in, film and music.
Yeah.
I think it came a bit too early for him. He was more into soccer and stuff at the time, but Ellen absolutely got it. But yeah, he's made up for it since with his music credentials and all that kind of thing.
Well, that probably seeped into him somehow. Do you know?
Definitely, because he cut his teeth when it comes to video and production on music videos.
Did he always know that's what he wanted to do?
Yeah, did he always know that's what he wanted to do? I'm not sure. I think he figured it out along the way. So
best way.
Yeah, so multimedia was his course in college. And he was just doing lots of filming, and he was putting cool music to the video work that he was doing and publishing that online. And then suddenly he was getting a lot of attention on Vimeo and stuff.
And he was making it that own. Did he make that music himself?
No. So I remember there was a really cool band in America called, I think, Corvette Cassette, some weird name. Okay. He just loved the music. Actually, he'd been on holidays with us in Italy. And while he was on holidays, he had the camera going the whole time, filming bridges, filming, different scenes here and there. And when he came back then, he just put all of those together in a very kind of psychedelic way with that music and just put it on Vimeo.
Awesome.
Vimeo do their kind of staff picks, so they put their favourite videos on the homepage, so it would get loads of views.
Man.
Then he was doing that over and over and over. So then he kind of made a bit of a profession in doing videos, like the Hosier Take Me to the Church one.
So he didn't find, it's not that he needed to find a group to make a video for, he just got the music himself,
Totally, yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah, so that's how it developed. But I think, again, a bit like our conversation, a bit of experimentation, doing something here, doing something there. And when he started doing work for, like the Hosier video was very much, there's a big story in that video. And some of the videos he did for Gavin James, they were mini films.
Yeah.
If you watch them, they're mini films.
Yeah.
No, without actors talking or anything like that.
No, but a music video can absolutely be a film,
absolutely. So like there was a little plot and a finish and everything, and that's where he kind of got that flair for doing that kind of thing, and it brought him closer and closer to what he's doing now. Like he's directing
feature films now.
Yeah, he's directing a series for Amazon as we speak. Filming started yesterday in Dublin.
Wow.
Yeah, so, but that's all that kind of path, you know.
Yeah.
We need to figure it out. So, in your family, so it was just you and your mum and your aunt. Your dad disappearing.
2 aunts, yeah.
2 aunts. Your dad disappearing. Did that mess you up?
I think other things have messed me up much more than that, to be honest. I think in life, like, you might look at someone's story and everyone has their big trauma or whatever, and you might think that's the thing that would really mess them up. But I find often it's lots of other things that mess you up. So, well, definitely a lot of things have messed me up. I don't think that's the biggest one. Maybe certain, like, outcomes of it, you know, might have in a way, but no, it's not something I think about very often at all. The only thing that I wish is that I'd learned, because he's Algerian, that I had learned to speak Arabic.
Okay.
I would have loved that. But I have a cousin in Algeria and she's lovely and I'm going to go and visit her soon. I'd like to get back to those roots, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Was it a case of you and your mum were a really tight unit because your dad wasn't there?
Yeah, we had to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does that result in a better relationship with a parent? Well, it's probably a closer one and a more intense one.
Yeah, literally just what you've said. It's closer and more intense. So there's good and bad in it.
What's the good?
Like what I was saying, like she was always just so caring. Do you know what I mean? And so supportive. And like any little talent that I had, like she would just...
You're amazing.
Yeah, but not in like those annoying parents that are like, my kid is the best.
Yeah.
Like not like that, but she would just really encourage it. And I like always knew that she was there. And
She was your champion anyway.
but now like we're so close, and yeah, she's got that like goofy, zany, like slightly irreverent side to her that I really appreciate, and I try and bring out in myself as well. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because in ways, we are a product of our parents and our experiences and all that kind of stuff. You can't...
Yeah.
It's just a reality. You don't...
We are. But then I think that gives us the chance to individuate as well, right?
Yeah.
I was reading this, it was a paper that someone had written on Hansel and Gretel, and it was like, oh, like the terrible stepmother or whatever, like how cruel. But then it said that actually the stepmother had created the perfect conditions for Hansel and Gretel to become the people that they were. And I really love that, because I think, you know, whatever challenges we have, not to put sugar on shit, as my therapist would say, but like whatever challenges we have, we absolutely can become better for them, and maybe they're the challenges that we need, even though at the time you would not be saying that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But after the fact.
The thing I feel with people who've gone through any experience that isn't the, you know, that perfect kind of family thing, or whatever, that perfect life, whatever that looks like, you would probably have chosen not to have gone through that thing, but you can't get away from the fact that you did. And as a result, you've got a bank of experience that other people just don't have. So with that comes perspective, understanding, a different way of looking at things.
Yes.
So, like, you know,
I think often you become a very sensitive person too, and that has its positives and negatives.
Yeah.
Learning to harness that, like, I think that's what I'm trying to do at the moment now.
Yeah. Did your mum have a career? What was she working
I was
at?
just thinking about that. She worked, like, there was a time she was working 3 jobs to bring me up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, like
well
secretarial jobs and things like that.
Yeah,
like
well done, mum.
Oh, she was a warrior, like an absolute warrior. And still, I was in football, and I was in karate. I did karate when I was younger, and I still remember that being the happiest time. And like, you know, sometimes she would say to me, "I'm sorry that I couldn't get you a trampoline like your friends had," and I'm like, I was over at my friend's house all the time. I had community, I had sports, I had everything I wanted in that sense. Do you know what I mean? And like, well done to her. I can't imagine what it must be being a single parent. So, yeah, fair play to her. And I suppose there was an element of like, I felt like I need to become successful because I want to give it all back to her. She would never want that from me, but from me. And but now I'm realizing that like, actually, the more that I try and follow my aligned path, whatever that is, follow the joy, the passion, that's going to culminate in it anyway. And sure, she just wants to see me happy. So
You're on the Win Happy podcast. Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
We should probably talk to your mum. She fought for your happiness, which is really, really cool.
She did, yeah.
What did you want to do when you were in school and trying to make choices about
God,
life and career? Did you have an ideal path?
Oh no, not at all. I remember like when I was really young, when I was like 13, I wanted to move to New York with my best friend and become a hip hop dancer. And
that's a good idea.
It didn't quite happen.
Yeah.
But I think I always wanted to do something creative. Love animals. So like when I was a kid, I wanted to be a vet maybe as well. And then I had ideas about like going into like activism or something like that too. So those were the kinds of things. I remember thinking like, that I liked writing, you know, and I'd do well with writing in school. And I thought, well, then the correct thing to do is to become a journalist. And I'd say, I have to be a journalist. I'm going to study journalism. But the thought of it actually killed me.
Yeah.
But it took me years and years and years to realize if the thought of doing something kills you, maybe just don't do it. Maybe it's not right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if it's right on paper. So I thought that I was going to become a journalist. But like now I realize that no.
Yeah. But in a way, we need to do something. And while you're playing around with all of those instincts, it's good to just, okay, I'm not fully sure, but let's try this particular thing.
Yeah.
And discover, well, do I like it or do I not like it? Or maybe you discover something else along the way.
Absolutely. I definitely found, I think like I didn't know in school that I was going to be good at teaching. And when I say teaching, I don't mean like standing in front of like lecturing, do you know? I mean like teaching kids, like facilitating with teenagers, like that kind of thing. Absolutely loved that. And that was something that I found, it was just when I went volunteering once in Peru and we were just teaching English. And I remember it really clicking. And I was like, oh my God, I absolutely love doing this.
Why did you love it?
Like I can get a lot of social anxiety, you know, but I find that like it's almost like performing when you're a teacher. You're getting the energy up. You are performing. There's this character, and something kind of flows through you, I think. And you know, if you're teaching a really good class, like, and everyone's involved, like time kind of stops a little bit, and I love that whole feeling. And of course, then just like I love helping other people find their confidence, their passions. Do you know what I mean? Express themselves. Find something that they're inspired in, like, and just maybe have a good time. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I love about it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I had a sneaky little peep at your LinkedIn.
Oh my God, my LinkedIn is dormant.
Well, what I saw was this kind of path. I saw journalism intern in Dublin.
Oh yeah.
You were a Feroga volunteer in South Africa. Mm-hmm. Then you were a volunteer in Peru. Then there's this Whiz Kids thing in the UK.
I was no good at that. Never mind that. Scratch that from the list. Yeah.
You were an English teacher in Madrid.
Yeah.
Then you were an art assistant in Barcelona.
Just for a short film, a short film.
Yeah. You were a writer in Madrid.
Yeah, I interned for a Spanish magazine and just wrote some articles, yeah.
A translator in Barcelona.
Yeah, well, remotely. I didn't go to Barcelona for it, but yeah, I did some translation. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the translator again for a thing called Spark News.
Yeah.
That's one hell of a bouncing around place to place.
There's a lot of bouncing around, but like I think I'm trying to find the common thread, and there is a common thread. You know what I mean? Like, and there would have been other stuff too. Like one thing that I really remember that I loved doing when I was in secondary school, and I think I was thinking about this the other day, and all of the best things that have happened for me, even though I can be a control freak and I'd be thinking like, what am I doing with my life? You know, what am I doing? It actually comes from just participating in life, and then something will happen. Yeah. So when I was in college, two things. Number one, I remember there was a module that I wanted to study in comparative literature and I didn't get it, and the only one left was fairy tales, and I thought, fairy tales, that sounds so pathetic. I'm not doing that. I can't believe. And it, of course, it was all about the psyche and like, you know, fairy tales are like dark and violent and transformative, and like that really sparked some kind of interest that I still have now in like folktales and mythology and psychoanalysis. So that happened by chance. And then also that there was an opportunity to make a community film there with migrant women from like North Africa and the Middle East. And so I did that while I was in college, and that was like my favorite thing that I ever did when I was there, even though it only spanned 3 weeks. Again, bringing people together, hearing their stories, getting everybody like loose and out of their head, you know, yourself included. And like,
how do you do that?
I think you just start with, I think, honestly, it's really handy to start with some, what are those called? Like icebreakers.
Yeah.
Do you know? And then also to be forthcoming yourself and not to patronize anybody and just to be really encouraging. I think that's all that it's about. If you're working with kids or even adults, sometimes movement is really good. Like, you know, movement is number one. If you can get yourself in your body and out of your head, like you're good to go. So some of those things really help, I think.
Tell me what you learned from living in all of those different places. And by the way, were you traveling yourself? Was it like, okay, I'm fed up with this place, I'm going to go on here? Were you with someone or?
No, honestly, for being such a control freak, like, well, I'm not, I'm a control freak in some ways, like in my own head, like an imaginary control freak because it never manifests anyway. But like, I remember doing my final exams and being stressed in college in London, and I was like, oh shit, I don't know what I'm going to do next year. So there's just, you can do this, I can't remember what the name of the program is, but being a language assistant in Spain. And I thought, well, I'll just go do that and improve my Spanish because I've been teaching Spanish. And then from there, like everything kind of unfolded. I started working at that company, La Casita de Inglés. Actually, that was because I was in film school and I needed a job in the evenings, so that's how I started working with kids. And then I ended up in head office there, like making videos for them and planning activities and hiring teachers and training teachers. So again, everything just kind of like bounced, like grew from itself. Do you know what I mean? That wasn't the question you asked. I can't remember what the question you asked was.
No, the question really was going from place to place. Were you packing up yourself, or were you doing that with someone, or?
No, by myself, yeah.
Okay.
By myself. But I've always had like one of my best friends from college, Aaron Duff. I met him in London, and like then he moved to Barcelona when I was in Madrid, and like sure, we'd be up and down to each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
So like, yeah.
So when you, I don't know, step off the plane, step off the train, step off the bus to start another chapter in another location, how do you feel? You know, and in those places you probably know no one.
I think like I actually like that feeling, and I think that coming home was important for me because it's very, I quite like the feeling of starting new because there's no baggage. Do you know what I mean? And there's a lot of possibility and optimism. And of course you'd be nervous, but actually coming home for me was the most nerve-wracking thing ever because as I was saying before we started this, like I think I've got great friends here, but I think like you can feel this fear of judgment in your home place like no other. Do you know what I mean?
It's not a blank page.
It's not a blank page.
Yeah.
So it's learning to be like the new version of, not the new version of yourself, but it's actually just learning to be yourself.
So, oh, Leila's coming back.
Who's she when she's at home? Yeah. And like, I'd find that with my friends as well. Do you know what I mean? I think like if I can exist here, I can exist anywhere.
Yeah. And it's not back to Dublin or back to Cork City. It's back to
a small
kind of small town West Cork stuff.
Yeah, and West Cork like it's given me so much opportunity, and like there's fantastic people here. But any small town, of course, you're going to have that feeling. And the thing is, of course, don't we all think that everyone's thinking about us, and then we learn that no one's thinking about us. They're thinking about themselves. So.
Did you always think you were going to come back here?
No, I thought I was going to live in Spain forever. But Spain was wonderful, but then like a lot of like I suppose my own personal challenges, like mental health wise, caught up with me in a big way, and I ended up having to come home because of that. So it felt like a massive failure at the time, like a huge failure. But actually it all worked out for the best because I was forced to confront a lot of things. And as I said, like now like that I'm making a life here, I know that I can make a life anywhere. Do you know what I mean?
So if I'm listening to this podcast,
are you going to ask me to give advice?
Well, no. the listener's going to they're going to be thinking, what happened to her? You know, what was all this about? We don't have to go there if you don't want to.
Do you know what? Like, I think I would love to do more of this kind of work, whatever it is, like community, creative work. That's what I really want to do. And I think like once I have more of that behind me, we're hashtag manifesting here. I'm not saying if. I'm saying once I have more of that behind me, I'd definitely go into it because I believe 100%. And like anyone that I run into in the street, like I would tell them about it. Do you know what I mean? I believe 100% in going into like the taboo, into the dark, to kind of alleviate the shame because the shame is so corrosive. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
I think my generation is really good for that, actually, in fairness. But I just think like right now, maybe I'm not ready. But it was all mental health. It was all like mental health.
So to simplify, can we say you ended up in a dark place?
Yes.
Where you were feeling a little bit lost and unraveled.
Oh, I thought my life was over. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've had a few of those episodes. I've always struggled with my mental health on and off throughout my whole life. And yeah.
How do you come back from that place?
It's going to sound dramatic, but from those episodes, like it feels like crawling out of hell. Like that's what it feels like. But when I came back from Spain, the first times it kind of just happened like through time, I suppose. I think going to Spain really helped me because I was in a dark place before that. Going to Spain, starting fresh helped. But when I came back to Ireland, I stopped drinking. I got into like spirituality as well, but I'm still figuring out what that means.
Yeah.
Because it's not all light and love, do you know what I mean? Like, but just got into like spirituality and thinking about things differently, and I suppose like a bit of like Carl Jung and that kind of thing. I've got a great therapist, and I think life is for some people like it's like a puzzle, and I'm learning the things that keep me well and the things that don't, and it's very easy for me to get lost because it's kind of a tricky puzzle. So I think that the more like I have a lot of fear with everything, and I think I actually have this tattoo. It's from, oh my God, she's my favourite poet and I can never think of her name. Emily Dickinson, who actually the title of the film is by taken from one of her poems too. And it says, "Oxygen, nothing more." She says that when the soul is terrified, all it wants is oxygen, nothing more. Personally, it's very easy for me. Like if I had my way, I'd be cooped up in a room hiding from everything. But the more I do that, the weaker I become. It's like I wither. So the more that I'm engaged in life, the more that I'm doing things. And I'm not talking about doing things that scare me in a masochistic way. The more that I'm doing things that I enjoy or I'm passionate about, even though they might scare me or make me a bit uncomfortable, it's like that just gives me vitality. And I need to be like anchored. And then there was a little while there where I got lost like a year ago, and I thought like, okay, my path is just like spiritual and I'm going to write and that's it. And I realized very quickly, no, I need both. So it's like you need your roots. If you're a tree, you need your roots in the ground, and that's like everyday stuff. Work, like community work or teaching and all of those kinds of things, like, and then the branches will grow, and that's like the creative stuff will come through, and I'm learning that's I think how I stay healthy in every sense. Yeah.
And for someone who talks about fear, I'm listening to a beautiful woman who has gone from place to place to place to place, starting again, taking on new jobs, new careers, new challenges, you know, dealing with your demons and, you know, working with therapists and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't sound like someone who is debilitated with fear.
No, but I have been debilitated with fear, and that I've had episodes of being debilitated with it, you know, where like I couldn't kind of leave the house and stuff, but it doesn't feel like a choice pushing through. Do you know what I mean? Because what's the alternative? But actually I think there is a fight in me, and there's a fire, and it's growing and growing. Do you know? It is growing. And I suppose the only way is through. And again, like I talk about the darkness, but I'm also lucky because like there's so many things that make me feel joyful and passionate, and I'm so desperate to follow those things. Do you know what I mean?
But that's really great awareness though, isn't it? When you identify the things that give you joy and put you on a positive path. So I think that's excellent. That's you figuring it out.
Through a lot of mistakes, yes.
Yeah, I'll do more of that and less of the other thing.
Yeah. It sounds simple, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds simple. Yeah.
So what gives you the most joy?
The things that give me the most joy, I absolutely adore music. Sometimes I feel like I have out of body. I talk about spirituality, but I think that like the things that make me feel that kind of way are actually of this world, if that makes sense, which does make sense. So like music, certain songs, and if I'm moving, like if I'm at the gym or going on a walk or just dancing around like a crazy fool in my house, and the song hits, that gives me some kind of magical feeling. I love, as I've gone on and on about, like, I love teaching and community work. That scares me, because anytime, even if I just have to do like a small activity with the lads at work and there's only 4 of them, I'm still nervous that it's going to go wrong and I'm going to mess up and disappoint. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's being professional.
yeah, exactly. So I love that. I love like film, literature, even though like I'm only just getting back into reading, if I'm honest. But like, anything creative. I love animals. I love traveling and exploring. My friends are like very important to me as well. Dark humor is very important. It's like a savior for me too. Do you know what I mean? And I love learning, but learning about things that I'm interested in. I wouldn't be interested in everything. You know, I'm not one of these people that knows about everything, but there's this kind of flow state that I'm always chasing. And it's like, if I've ever been to the theatre and I've seen a play that I adore, and you kind of feel like chills, you know, that feeling. And sometimes, like, I think I got that once when I was directing before. And I'm even nervous to be talking about directing, because I really want to do more of it, but I'd almost given up on it before. But it feels akin to like when you're teaching or facilitating, because you're like creating a space for something to unfold with everybody together. And in a way, like, I'm 34. You could say I'm so behind with all of this. You know, I haven't picked a track.
I don't think so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But like, I really want to marry all of those things together. So yeah.
Well, as a 34-year-old, you've done a lot of living. You've done a lot of figuring out. You've experimented with loads of different careers and, you know, little routes and paths and everything. So I think you're doing amazing. So back to West Cork, where it wasn't an empty page, you know, unlike some of the other locations that you went to. What were you feeling kind of coming back here for that first day?
Oh, when I came back, I was like a shell of myself. So
when was that?
Was it 2021, 2022?
Okay.
Yeah. So I was feeling no hope, to be honest. Like, that's what I was feeling. And I was feeling a lot of shame.
And will you come back to your mum?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
I went
mum
back
was like...
to live with my mum. Yeah. And I felt like...
Did she tell you to come home, or did you...
She wanted me to, yeah.
All right.
And huge amount of shame and like failure, and I was like, I can't believe this is where my life has ended up. Do you know?
Back with mother.
Yeah, I know. And like, of course now, like, it's so lovely to go back and like, you know, stay over or whatever. Like, she's not far away, and it's so lovely to go and hang out, but it's different when you're forced back because your whole life has crumbled. You know, because of your own self and your own. So there is,
and then,
yeah,
isn't it wonderful that you've this bond with another human being on this earth who recognizes that maybe you're
it was her and my friends.
Bad place, and she come back here. That's okay. Let's sort this out.
It was her and my best friends, and like without them, like I'm very aware of how lucky I was, because some people don't have that, and they would end up dead or on the streets. Do you know what I mean? So like, I'm very lucky. I'm not complaining about it in that sense, you know, but you still do feel like a failure. Yeah. When everyone around you is buying houses and stuff, you know, and you're like...
or trying to. We're talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. But now I believe if you're in a state in your life where you can see no hope and it's just pure anguish, like, and you actually can't remember what it feels like to feel okay. I think when you can't remember what it feels like to feel okay, that's the absence of hope, because you think you've always felt that way. Something glitches in your brain. And it's just the knowledge that, like, despite this feeling, I know that I can be. And I can bring meaning to this when I'm out on the other side. Do you know what I mean? I think that's important for people to know. There's a writer, Sophie Turner. She talks about when she went through a really terrible mental health... I think her name is Sophie Turner. Irish writer.
It is now.
Yeah, she wrote...
We have named her.
Where I can't remember what but she wrote this really fantastic book, Where I Begin or Where I End. I can't get any of this right, but anyway, she was speaking about that, and like just being in a place of kind of like inner turmoil and anguish that no one else can see. And I really believe you can get out of it. Do you know what I mean? And then you can find meaning in it, and you can become... You know, you'll be weaker at the end in some ways, but you'll also be stronger. So
yeah, well, you're wrestling with the bear.
Yeah, and everybody has to wrestle with the bear. Yeah. So
the West Cork comfort blanket came out, and bit by bit, you were like back in your feet again.
Slowly.
Yeah.
Slowly. Through like getting back into the world again. Like again, my friends, I've best friends ever, and going back to work. Do you know? And then like, I feel like it's like you get your feet in the ground and you're like, oh, okay, like I'm tethered now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I started working at RehabCare after like taking some months off. Again, I was very lucky to be able to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
But at times we all have to do stuff like that, you know? So when that job came up in RehabCare, did you spot it in the paper? Did someone give you a nod saying this would be great for you? How did that come about?
It came about through connections, and that's never happened to me ever before. I've never had anything happen through connections, but it was just literally that my mom actually knew the manager there, Catherine Doyle. They'd worked together before, and she mentioned that they were looking for people, that they were hiring. And I wouldn't have known about it otherwise. So I interviewed, and that, yeah.
And if you can imagine, with the particular work they do and the people they work with, if you were to, map out a job spec of the person coming through the door and those personal characteristics they would have and experiences, all of a sudden Leila is starting to fit the bill. Someone that can come here and you're not judging any of them.
No.
As you said to me, you had kind of perceptions about what people like that would be like.
Do you know what it is? I didn't know how cool they could be.
Yeah.
That's all. I didn't have really negative perceptions, but like I didn't know how cool they could be. Yeah. That was it. So it sounds to me like this wildly.
Wonderful group of people are doing as much for Leila as you're doing for them.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I love being able to go to work and be completely myself. I think everybody needs somewhere where they can go besides their family, if they can do it with their family, that like they can go and they can just be completely themselves, like an oddball, do you know? If we had that in the world for everybody, it would be a different place. Yeah. So those people are giving us that.
So in a way, when we ever drive past the RehabCare Centre, we do have our preconceptions about what goes on behind those four walls. And in a way, that film just helps to
and in many
illuminate
ways,
that in so many ways.
In many ways as well, because aside from the incredible wit and humour and banter that is unparalleled there, and aside from the people speaking about how they found great resilience through, adversity, there's also like a lot of the clients would be like so intelligent. Of course, I don't want to reduce them to their disabilities. That's the opposite of what we're doing. But I would just say that some of the clients that have autism, like, if we're doing a quiz together, you'd know to ask this client because he would know exactly what that obscure town is in that obscure country and when, do you know what I mean? Or like some of them, they just all have their skills and they're different.
That's life.
That's life. And we had one man, Robert Dean, he passed away after we filmed, and he knew everything about music. We'd be like, hey Rob, what year did that song come out on? And he'd be like, 1983, February. Like he was just, everyone. But like some of the clients, like there's another man, Jim O'Shea, and he talks about, I don't know if I should say what his diagnosis is because I don't think it's in the film, so I won't. But like he talks about Ireland and it becoming progressive, and he's like an older gentleman, slightly older gentleman. He's a farmer, from the country. The stuff he comes out with, like a lot of people were amazed by it because he was saying how great it was that Ireland has become progressive and the referendum on gay rights and how important it is about to look after the environment, and he's well up in current events, and then some of the other ones talking about like how important it is to be open and non-judgmental, and they just have like some of them have a slightly different view, slant on life that I think is so refreshing as well. Do you know what I mean? And we need all of that. We need all. And somebody said after the film, and I hadn't even thought about this, but somebody said, even the ones that did go into like maybe their stories, you never got a sense that they felt sorry for themselves, ever. None of them, and they didn't.
Yeah. Wow. Well done them, and well done you them. For.
Yeah, there's one lady that I was speaking about, and I was asking her what helps her, and she says punk music. Fucking love punk music. And she goes into it,
Yeah,
like
the Pistols.
Yeah, exactly. She was saying that she'd gone to a concert and like how it helps her get all of her aggression out, and it helps her, and I was, I asked them in the film, a lot of them, like what their advice is for other people, and she was talking about, we've spoken about judgment here. She's like, people will always judge, take it with a pinch of salt. Do you know what I mean? And punk helps her to do that. So
what's your pissed off song? If you're in a really pissed off mood, you want to shake it off, what's the song you play?
I think I would just put on some really hardcore hip hop, whatever that may be. Yeah.
Go on, pick a song.
Oh my God, I can't. You're putting me on the spot. Oh my God. Give me a second. Maybe something by, like, I think maybe something by, like, A$AP Ferg. Any one of his songs. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
And your happy, happy song, you're in great mood, top of the world, come in the door, boom, play that song.
Either some, like, dance music or pop music from the early 2000s, because I have such nostalgia for that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I love, like, cheesy pop music from the 90s and the early 2000s, like S Club 7 and all that kind of stuff. I love that too. Yeah. I'm pretentious, but I'm also
A girly girl.
a girly girl. Absolutely. You can be both.
Yeah.
You can be both. So I love all that stuff. Yeah.
Fair enough. The work in rehab care, what's the purpose of it?
The work in rehab care is to support these people to live dignified, autonomous lives. I think that's it. It's all about choice. It's not about doing anything. Like we have a saying, like, don't do anything for someone that they can do themselves. Community integration, finding their skill set, helping them with logistics. Like, you know, like if you would need, like, you know, we had MABs come in, like if they need maybe advice around finances or support around healthcare appointments, all of that kind of stuff, housing, we do that. But more importantly, I think it's just recognizing these individuals as valuable and that they deserve to have everything we have and they deserve to have choice. And even if they don't, some of them, a lot of them do know, but some of them might not recognize that they have desires and dreams. Do you know what I mean? Or a funny side, and it's kind of like helping them to bring that out of themselves. I think that's it. Yeah.
And working with them, can you see the difference what you're doing is making?
100%. I mean, I haven't been there long, and like I've only been there on and off like 3 years, I think. But like stories about some of the clients and how far they've come. I know there are ones that would have not come out of their rooms before, or ones that would have been too shy to speak, and now they're out in the community. They're the boss when we're doing activities. Like one of the women there, like she'll run the show. Do you know what I mean? I remember the other day that I forgot that a certain client was traveling on the bus, and she was like, "Oh, isn't this client traveling on the bus?" Do you know what I mean? Like they're really, you know,
they're finding themselves, aren't they?
They're finding themselves. Yeah. There's no hierarchy. There isn't, and the staff there are just fantastic because we all treat each other the same way. Do you know what I mean?
So what's your plan?
My plan is to marry those two things that I'm doing. So I think continue to do the community work or teaching. Again, as I was saying, like on paper, journalism sounded great, but it wasn't. On paper, training to be a primary school teacher would sound great, and it would make all the sense in the world. But it doesn't. It's like it doesn't make me feel good, the idea of it. So I find other ways maybe to do teaching and work with kids. Maybe do workshops. Continue to work at RehabCare and with people with disabilities or mental health, and then also now I would really like to. What's the word that I'm looking for? Like not flourish, but like I can't think of the word that I'm looking for. Expand. I would really like to expand the creative side as well, because I think if I'm only doing the community stuff, it's wonderful, but there's a part of me that's withering a little bit, and I really want to expand that part, and I want to keep the two of them, you know. I want to do more writing and I want to do directing. And I think also like it's very important, like I work best, you know, when you're writing the poetry, like that just comes. But the rest of the stuff is collaboration. So I'm going to, like, as we were talking about fear, I'm going to force myself to find other people to collaborate with and just continue doing the things that feel like they give me joy and passion.
Yeah, well...
Because that's scary, because, like, then there's still a voice in my head, and it's gotten a lot smaller, but there's the voice, like, you should be doing the logical thing. Come on, like, you should be doing this. It's going to get you more money. You should... But I think I'm coming to peace now with the fact that like my life isn't going to work like that, and I have to, yes, go out and find opportunities and push myself and everything, but I have to trust that following the joy and the passion is actually going to get me where I want to be.
Well, West Cork is a great place for creatives.
Yes.
And you've got a lot of people who love you here, clearly. And it does sound to me as well like rehab care is giving you something and you're giving it back to that.
It's given me something massive.
Yeah, and maybe the writing and, you know, continuing with your film work can be part of all of that. And, you know, as well, maybe you don't have to figure it all out right now.
No, I think it's actually step by step. Step by step, let it roll. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a few whopper questions for you now.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Are you going to ask me my favourite song again?
No.
I wish I had that prepared. I'm going to not be able to sleep at night because I'll be like, I should have said this
song. You can text
song.
me and we can re-record that part. What's happiness to you?
Happiness is that flow state that I've been talking about. It's when you are connecting with people or connecting with something that allows you to create something. I think the few times that I have been, and it's being out in the world, even if you're a little bit afraid, like exploring the world.
Hi.
Hello. That's a cool outfit. Like exploring the world, connecting with different people, pushing yourself a little bit so that, like, again, like this tattoo, like, so your soul can breathe. Do you know what I mean? Creating things with people and making things happen that maybe you wouldn't have been able to make happen by yourself. And I think, and also like just going to like an amazing concert or hearing an amazing song and getting that rush, do you know? That feeling for sure. And I think also maybe happiness is that kind of pride that you feel when you do overcome some fears, or when you really help someone, but not in like a kind of way that's transactional, like you're helping them in a way that's symbiotic. Like, what's the word?
Tricky word.
Reciprocal. Is that it?
Yeah. Or reciprocity.
Reciprocity.
Yeah, you said it better than I did. It's a tricky one. Your mouth around.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's also, for me personally, I think it's the meeting place between having purpose and structure and also like freedom and play and adventure. It's where those two things meet. I think that's when I'm at my happiest. I'm also at my happiest when I'm like binging on chocolate, watching Netflix in bed too. But like...
Yeah, well, that's rest, isn't it? That's
part of it.
Yeah, actually you have to listen to the episode with Dawn Russell from Anna Liffey, where she kind of talks about that peace, but that excitement that goes alongside it.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I think we do need our anchors, but you do need that fire as well, don't you?
It's exactly that. Like, I remember thinking, like, maybe, like, because I travelled to Egypt a little while ago with one of my best friends, Tara Keneally, who's actually in the film, and she works with RehabCare at me, and we...
What a bad life you're describing. It sounds pretty good and pretty sorted.
Man, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like it's slowly getting there. Do you know what I mean? It's slowly getting there. But we actually went there on kind of like a shamanic trip, just the two of us.
Yeah.
And that was just wow. It was wow. Do you know what I mean? But I remember, and we were at the cheap hotels and stuff because like we didn't have a lot of money to do
any harm.
Didn't do us any harm at all. No. It was wonderful. And I remember thinking after that's when I got a little bit lost because I thought maybe my life is just like, traveling and this and that. And I forgot the anchor piece. So now I've learned that very important lesson. And everybody is different, I suppose. Or do you think that everybody needs those two pieces? I think people are different.
I think we are very, very different. And that all comes from those experiences. Again, I had a lad on the podcast a few episodes back, Roger Overall. And he spent a lot of time living in different places, and he was kind of saying to me he doesn't feel like he does have an anchor anywhere, which is a lovely feeling. I think when you're coming back to a place, that gives you that feeling. That's important. But when you have that strong foundation, that kind of gives you the freedom to just go and explore, and as long as you can come back to it, and it's there.
And I don't think that it's necessarily a geographical anchor. I think it's just an anchor that, like, well, for me anyway, like an anchor that you're doing something with people and you have some kind of purpose. I think that's the anchor more than having a geographical anchor. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
So the podcast is called Win Happy. So we talk about winning. And you're talking about that lovely state of kind of happiness.
Can I add one more thing to my happiness?
Oh, of course you can.
Like putting on music, like putting on Destiny's Child and Nelly and dancing with my friends. One of my friends had a baby is it a year and a half ago now, and she loves music, and we literally just put on like that, like Backstreet Boys, dance around the kitchen with her, or like my flatmate, like we went for a night out the other night and they were playing all those bangers, and it was just like, we can still have that teenage, whatever that like teenage, I'm kind of obsessed with that teenage feeling, like it's excitement, and we can still have that, we don't have to grow up and become like empty of all of that. So
that sounds like medicine.
It is medicine.
Yeah.
It is medicine.
Why would we deny ourselves those things. Why would we say, let's not dance again? I couldn't
Yeah.
tell you the last time I danced.
Well, you need to go away and dance now.
Yeah, we
You need to have a dance for yourself.
Put the music on loud. It wouldn't be Destiny's Child anyway.
Well, what would yours be?
Oh, God almighty. Well, your Black Betty, Ram Jam.
I got you.
The Knack, you know.
Yeah.
The National, Led Zeppelin, NXS.
Cool. Led Zeppelin, I can
Yeah, all of that. But music is so, so important.
Yeah.
So what gives you that feeling of winning? You know, yes, I did that. You go to work every day. I know you're the times with your pals. What gives you that little, that was an achievement. Yes.
I think when you can see everybody kind of like, if you're running a program, like an activity or whatever, and there's a moment where you can see everybody is animated, everybody is lighting up, people are contributing, people are engaged, people are laughing, or, maybe we might be talking about, like, one time we did a sad poem. We did Danny Boy, but we did that as a poem. And we do so much talking about death. And the stuff that the wisdom that they come out with, comparing it to nature and all of that, like, I go back to talking about the divine, and I'm not trying to be like, but I think there's something divine in that, and touching that divinity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. And there's so many different ways to do that. But I think when you get people kind of like out of their heads and into their bodies, maybe because that's my favorite feeling too. And if you can get other people into that flow state and feeling empowered, and feeling kind of fierce.
Well, you know how good that feels. And if you can give them the permission to be there as well, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm still very awkward too.
Are you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And a huge amount of self-doubt. But again, doing this film was a massive exercise in moving through that.
Well, it sounds like it was a powerful thing for RehabCare and for Leila.
Yeah, it definitely was. It definitely was.
So one last question for you.
Okay.
What's the best choice that you've made that has helped you?
Oh my God, what a question. I don't think that I could pick one thing, because if I were to pick one thing, I would say like, quitting drinking, or getting into finding an excellent therapist. I have an excellent therapist now.
What's an excellent therapist?
Well, it's just one that fits with you.
Okay.
That's literally it. It's just one that fits with you. Like my therapist, like it's what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
I think she used to be a social worker, but she's so grounded in reality and practical and warm and non-judgmental.
Which is right for you.
But then she has like she'll come out with some data. Do you know what I mean? Like something that she read in a study, and then she'll come out with some kind of like mythological, like, or a folk tale or something like that, and like it's all of that mixed together. And what makes her great is that she helps you to find your story. So it's not pathological. It's not just I'm a victim. This. It's like this is your hero's journey. And I mean that for everybody. And that's what I love. It's creative, it's expansive, it's like fiery, do you know what I mean? But it's also practical, and that's what a good therapist is. I think finding the story in your life.
Okay.
Yeah. What was your question?
So the question was your best choice. So you said it
so
wasn't
all
finding,
of those things, like getting into like the shamanic work that I've done a little bit of, just a little bit, like that has been not mind altering in the sense of like doing mind altering substances, because you don't, but like mind altering and just like opening your mind to like the way that things could be, But I honestly think my best decision has been to continue to, however imperfectly, and I do fail a lot, to exist in the world, to participate in the world and participate in the things that I like to do and that I'm passionate about. And I don't always do it. I don't always get it right. And sometimes I hide. But to keep doing that. And also when I get into those states of feeling completely and utterly hopeless and like the worst person in the world, building on that strength that no, it's not true. There is an end to this. There's something on the other side. I think those two things have been the most important things for me. Yeah.
You give yourself a hard time, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
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 I've just listened to it and you're saying, when I fail a lot, and
well, failing gives you a lot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn to like fail well, and I'm trying to learn to befriend my fear. I think those are
You're not.
You're
failing.
unstoppable.
You're not failing, Leila. You're knocking it out of the park.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the When Happy podcast, which has been brought to you by Fusion Communications. If you'd like to get in touch, feel free to send me an email at greg@fusion.ie. So until next time, take it easy.